So welcome this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life to come and spend some time with each other and with Spirit, most important, benefiting yourself. And so everybody who has written, is everybody written a prayer request and put it, oh, you want me to move over here?
I want you to step forward.
Okay. Prayer request, put it in the basket, and basically what we're going to do is hand out those little pads to everybody and then have you come and bring your petition and put it in the basket yourself, because this way you're actually participating in the process. You're setting an intention, so that's a good thing. Okay? We're going to start off with a prayer and an intention, if you care to join me. Mother, Father, God, thank you for this opportunity to be in union with Spirit, to be open and receptive to the message that is meant for our best and highest good. Help us to have ears that hear and eyes that see. Help us to be open and aware. We want to thank you for this space and the opportunity to fill it with those who are like-minded. We thank you for all the blessings and those that you used to orchestrate those blessings for us. We thank you again for all of the things that we are aware of and those that we are not. And so it is. And so it is. So, I think that it's fitting tonight that we talk about transition and change. Now, how many of you have heard from somebody in the metaphysical community in the last, say, 6 months, oh, I'm going through a transition? It's a really common thing, right? We hear it all the time. So, what's the difference? Have you ever wondered what's the difference between transition and change? Because you'd think, well, I'm going through a transition, you're going through a change, right? So are they changing location, they're changing ideas, they're changing teachers, they're changing schools of thought, what's going on with them that they're in a transition? I think that we kind of lose what that is in this kind of menage of words that we use to describe different states of being and different states of consciousness. So let's talk first about change. So I tell my little change story, and how many of you have heard it? Okay, so you've all heard it, but I will tell it anyway. So one of the things that happens is that oftentimes we pick up habits and ideas that don't really make sense to us. We do things out of rote. It's just what we do. Why are you this particular religion? Oh, my parents were, my grandparents were, or somebody came to me and knocked on my door and I became a Jehovah's Witness. That's what happened. So all these things happen, and it seems like they're happening to us, and we're not really participating in the process of that. But we can participate in the process of that. So that's what that story is about. When we talk about the newlywed couple that spends the first holiday together, and she takes the roast and puts it in the oven after cutting off both ends of the roast. And the husband says, why are you cutting off both ends of the roast? And then she says, that's just the way you make a roast. And then they go to the mother-in-law's house, and he's watching to see if she cuts off the ends of the roast. And she cuts off the ends of the roast. He says, Mom, why you cut off the ends of the roast? That's the way you make a roast. They go to Grandma's house, and he goes and sneaks into the kitchen and watches her prepare the roast, waiting patiently for her to cut off both ends, right? And she doesn't cut off both ends. She just puts the roast in the oven. He says, Grandma, you forgot to cut off the ends of the roast. Oh, I don't do that anymore. I bought a bigger pan last year. So sometimes we do those things, we do them and we just don't know why we do them. But here, the husband, the newlywed husband, he wanted to know why. Why are we doing that? Why are we cutting off the ends of the roast? Because it seemed wasteful to him. It was a mystery that he felt like he had to solve. And a lot of times, the things that we do should be that way for us. We should look at them that way. That they're a mystery that we're trying to solve, a puzzle that we're trying to put together. Our life is that. Our spiritual journey is that. And we're trying to understand it. We're trying to get it. So the more curious we are, what happens? The more answers we get, right? If you're not curious and you don't look, you're not going to get answers. Really simple, universal law, right? Ask and you shall receive. So we look for opportunities to ask, why? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? How did this happen? Change happens. And you hear this often as well. So what kind of things are constant, right? Taxes, you must pay them. Death, everybody in this room is going to die. And change.
And universal laws, constant, they don't change.
So change is something that happens all the time. Sometimes we're aware of it, sometimes we're not aware of it. But it's outside of ourselves. It's things that happen, it's situational. Sometimes we're involved in it, and we should be involved in it if we want to make change internally. And then you should be able to see that externally. You know, when things are changing inside you and you're growing, then your experience changes. Your attitude changes. Your feelings change. When that happens, everything changes, right? Because we know if we change the way that we look at things, the way that our mind perceives things, everything else changes. The whole reality changes. The whole story changes and shifts. So it's external. It happens fast sometimes, especially if we're not involved in the process, because we tend to drag our feet when we're changing. When we're creating a change, it takes a long time. And sometimes the standing thinking as a personal trainer was 12 weeks. It takes 12 weeks to build a habit. So if you're going to go to the gym, it takes you 12 weeks to get into the habit, and then you'll just do it automatically. If you want to quit smoking, it takes 12 weeks to quit, and then you'll stick better after that. It's just the way that our brain works, it's the way that our mind works. But sometimes things happen that are beyond our control, and when that change happens, maybe we don't like it and we don't respond well to it. How many of us have had changes in our life that we did not respond well to? So then we have to change the way that we're looking at change. Sounds a little silly, but it's true. We have to understand that it's something that's going to happen, whether we like it or not, and it's going to happen all the time. And it's going to continue to happen. So we can engage in the process of change, or we can allow change to affect us, and we don't want that to happen. We want to participate in the process of change. Change is sometimes predictable. We can see it coming. And I know that I have been there. Sometimes in denial. I see it coming, then it happens. I didn't know that was going to happen. But I knew it was going to happen because I saw it coming. Physical change. You can see it. You can feel it. You can hear it. You can taste it. Things happen and move us in different directions, in different environments. It's tangible. Change is tangible. Even internal change is tangible because we're expressing ourselves internally and then showing that externally. Transition is something entirely different than change. Transition is the process from change to change. The end of one change to the beginning of another change. Sometimes things happen and we decide we're going to quit smoking. I set the intention, I put my little prayer in the basket, I'm very excited, I've set myself up for success, and then I go through the transition, the period from which I have set the intention to the time that I have accomplished that task. That's your transition. So when people are saying I'm going through a transition, it's interesting because I'm wondering, what is it that they're doing? What intention have they set? What's going on there that they're transitioning? What are they transitioning into or from? A lot can happen in that time. It's very internal. We have those weird conversations in our head. I know I do this because one of my big challenges is going to the gym, setting that intention, buying the membership, got my clothes out, and then the transition comes, because I'm going, boy, I'm really tired today. I don't really feel like doing that. And I go through this whole mental process of questioning my decision, making excuses why I can't move towards a goal, what kind of things I could do instead. Oh, I got laundry to do. I got to mop the floor. I got to do this. I got to do that. So, phone's ringing. Got to get the phone. So we can do that. That's our transition. Transitioning from an intention to an action. I'm doing a decision. I've made a decision. I'm going to do it, and that's it. Internal, personal, slower. It's less visible. If I'm making a commitment and it's inside me, it's kind of private unless I tell you about it. Spirit knows, but other than that, you guys don't know unless I tell you. Less predictable. Why? Because I don't know if I'm going to keep my commitment. In the transition, I may go in different directions. I may think about something entirely different. It's psychological. It's intangible. The transition is all about your response to whatever it is directionally that you have committed to. It's a psychological process. So I think it's really very clear that there's a significant difference between change and transition. So where are we as a group? How does this apply to us at the Temple of Spiritual Awareness? We have had a plethora of change. We have had change from day one and then continue to change and change and change. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. The nice thing about that is that I'm open to change. I really don't have a problem with change because I know it's inevitable and I can fight it and make myself crazy, or I can accept it, and I've decided to accept it because I don't want to be crazy. I think that's funny, huh? So, but we are also in transition, because what is it that we have set an intention for? We set an intention to have a space of our own sometime. So we have transitioned numerous times. We transitioned from the Temple of Light into my home. We transitioned from my home into the library, from the library into the Peace Cottage, and then from the Peace Cottage here. So we're not done yet. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of transition, working towards change. And who knows what will happen in the process. We have no idea. But we do know that our participation is very important. So how do we make the transition better, easier, have a good outcome? We keep a positive attitude. We work towards the goal. We encourage others to come so that we can share with them as well, and they can be part of the process. The more energy that we have focused on our goal, the better the chances are of a positive outcome. And of course we know that there'll be a positive outcome. So we'll change and change again. The energy has shifted and changed. A lot of the people that had started off with us when we left the Temple of Light are no longer with us. We have new, wonderful new friends as well. And who knows what Spirit has for us. We want to be open. I'm open. I encourage you to be open. I encourage you to participate in the process of transition. And look at the transitions in your own life and see what you need to do energetically, emotionally, and mentally to move towards those goals that you've set for yourself as well. And if you're in a transition that is outside of your influence, how you're dealing with that psychologically. I'm okay with that. I'm doing the best I can. I'm listening to Spirit, and I'm keeping a positive attitude. And I'm moving in the direction that is meant for my best and highest good. Always, always. Some changes don't seem that way. Sometimes things happen and things change and we don't want them to change. And we dig our heels in. I know that I've done that in my life, and you know how that's turned out? Not so well. The harder you fight against something, the more difficult that situation becomes for you. So what do we say? What we resist persists. Right. And it's all in your head. It's all about how you respond. You can't control change, but you can control transition. You can control how you feel about change. So I just thought we'd share this tonight because of what's going on with us, and apply it to yourself personally for your own personal growth. This month, we are sharing personal development. So every week this month, we will discuss another topic and information that you can take away and then apply in your life to make your life happier, more productive, emotionally balanced, more fulfilling, more happy, help you deal with situations better, and you have a new tool for your spiritual toolbox, which is awesome. So keep that in mind. This is our first talk on change and transition, and did everybody get one of these? Reverend Lulu made these special for us. So we'll make sure you get one, Jeannie, before you leave. So it's nice to have. And what we'll do is try and have handouts for everybody as well, so that this way when you leave, after you've heard a lesson, you can kind of look at it and think back. And say, yeah, that really resonated with me. Or hey, you know what? I can apply that to this situation that I'm going through right now. Or I didn't realize I was in transition. Hey, you know what? I think I'm in transition from this to this. So that's good. I know that there are folks that are not going to find us easily in this space. So how many of you tonight had a difficult time getting here? Nobody, right?
It's
you had a difficult time getting here? It's easier than the Peace Cottage. Yeah, I think the most difficult thing is when you pull in, it's not real obvious what door to come in. So we'll see if we can do something about that moving forward. But that is probably the biggest obstacle that I've seen so far. But everybody else has found us. So the reason that I'm asking that question is because if you know someone who's not here, then you can say to them, it was so easy. It's not that big a deal. And I'm sure that there's going to be a couple people that say, I didn't want to leave the Peace Cottage. We are so grateful to have had the opportunity to be there, because without the opportunity to be there, we wouldn't be here. So see, by allowing that change, allowing that to happen, more blessings come for you. So tell them how easy it is. Tell them how easy it is. Okay, so that's my lesson for this evening. You leave that with me and lost it.
Thank you.